Welcome to the Confessions of a Group X Instructor podcast. For group exercise junkies and enthusiastic classgoers, we'll explore and uncover authentic, thought-provoking, and heartwarming industry education and inspiration from entertaining, badass fitness pros. And now your host, creator of Warrior Rhythm, Warrior Strength, Warrior Combat, Warrior Revolution, and Warrior Kids Group fitness brands, Ellen DeWord. Here we grow.
Welcome everybody back to the show. This is exciting because it's episode 99 and I'm back with the one and only Nicole Printon, aka Printon.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you again for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I like to bring you back on like basically a quarterly basis. And the podcast disappeared for a couple months. Did you notice?
I did notice because I've been searching.
How come you didn't like text me and say what happened to it? You just how come you didn't ask me?
Well, you know what? You did an amazing interview with Amy Boone Thompson, and I don't know if this is like a proprietary thing. I kind of thought that it would show up in confessions as well. I don't know if you're able to do that. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if Idea Fit owns that or if you can share it on your link as well. So that was kind of
Oh,
like,
you mean that podcast that I just did with her?
yeah.
No, I do where I talked about my book chapter and all that stuff.
Yeah. I thought it was
Yes,
great. I mean, I was in tears, like I'm driving and I was like in tears,
I
like
thought I
listening to
did.
your
I
podcast.
actually thought I did a really good job on
It
that
was
show
great.
as a guest, and I felt great about it. And you know why? I just was like, just don't think it, just be yourself. That's the key. And that's actually why I enjoy having you on as a guest, because
Thank
you
you.
just show up so comfortably yourself, and those always make the best interviews. And when we get in our head, okay, so anyone on the audience who's listening, you might get an opportunity if you haven't already to be a guest on a podcast. It's what a lot of fitness people do, you know? And so this is my tip for whatever it's worth. Try as hard as you possibly can to just not worry about what you're going to say and just speak as if you're just having a conversation with the host and that the world is not listening in on it. That's the ticket. That's the
Right. The host asked you to be a podcast guest for a reason.
yeah.
So whatever that reason is what you're going to portray
It's
or
fun.
in the
It's
podcast.
here comes Tootie Booty, sorry.
And I love Tootie all over the place in that particular interview as
She's
well.
gotten like
Worse?
louder and worse. And you DM'd me a couple weeks ago. You were like, what is wrong with her? Is she okay? And I'm like, I don't know if she's gotten worse. I think it's actually related to just the loss of the animals that we experienced. You know,
Mhm.
those were her
Yeah.
pack, and three of them passed away last year. So
Oh,
she's just gotten very, very voluble. I think that's the right word.
that's very
It's sad.
yeah. And
Um,
very like it's true. Like I had lost, so I had
oh yeah.
two cats that were in a litter. They were from a litter. We adopted them. This was many years ago. And one, we had gotten kidney disease and we had to put him down early in 2016. And then the other one, and they were brothers. And well, I didn't notice like I did notice, but he lost all kinds of weight quickly. And
Yeah.
I thought the reason I didn't rush him to the vet really was I thought, oh, he's very sad
Mhm.
about his brother, which could have very much been true, but it turned out he had kidney disease as well. Like
Oh,
he was like
oh,
dying in front of me and I just didn't realize it. So
oh.
yeah, it's very, very sad.
It's
So
funny how we don't see it. I mean, Gunnar, he died of cancer, and it was in hindsight, it was so obvious. I mean, his belly was bulbous and had it was just in hindsight, like I see all the signs, but
mm,
it's weird how going through it, I'm like, maybe he swallowed a sock, you know. Anyway,
yeah.
I was gonna say about the Amy Thompson thing, the reason I was saying that I really loved that episode. And I loved just feeling so comfortable being myself, talking to her about my life and my story and my struggle with eating and all that stuff. But the first time I ever did a podcast show with her slash idea, I was I was I was profoundly nervous about it just because of
Mm,
just my like just I don't know. I don't know. It was a few years ago you would think I would be confident and calm, but I remember having actual dry mouth. You know, that happens
Oh.
when you get really nervous,
Mhm.
your mouth will go dry. And I remember that I was like getting ready to when they were like when I was like opening the meeting, getting ready to do my first ever podcast with Idea and with her, I felt my heart race. I felt my mouth go dry and I was like, oh no, it's gonna be hard to be me. I'm nervous. But anyway, it was now I'm very comfortable talking with her and on their platform. So it was a thank you for mentioning that show. But you know what? You're right. It did it well, I needed to be on that show because they're interviewing all the authors of our best-selling book. And so of course I needed to agree. I couldn't be like, one of the authors said no. And no, and not that I would want to say no, but it's just that I opened a studio, which is what episode 97 was about. And so I just have been so overwhelmed with trying to start this new behemoth business venture and keep the other one alive and spinning, like there were a few things in my life that I just had to shelf, like cleaning the house and doing podcasting and stuff like that. So saying yes and carving out the time and kind of I've sort of settled into like getting into a rhythm of running the studio. It has a beautiful start and things, I'm not having to learn a new thing every day and try to anyway. So I
Many
feel
congratulations on the studio, and I cannot wait to see it. Like there are no
you
words. There
better,
are no
you
words.
better freaking die.
Yeah. Please. I'll be moving out to the Pacific Northwest.
I know I
Did you
saw
see my
you.
message to you?
I
I think on
just
Instagram, I said there's another reason to move out there.
Yeah, I just
Just
saw that.
another adding classes to the schedule.
Nicole, it is so perfect and beyond it's actually beyond my expectations. And like a lot of the decisions I ended up making were like brilliant, but I didn't know that they
Mm.
were. Like it was just, I don't know. I'm gonna give credit to God, but like for chiefly the location. Now that I'm there, I see. Now that I'm there, I'm like, I mean, probably 200 people walked by while I was teaching today.
Wow. And
You,
that I'm going to assume, just
yeah.
based on life experience, that costs a pretty penny, and that's probably why
Yeah.
you were debating not
Yep.
taking that.
Yes, there was an adorable, lovely little studio that I kind of fell in love with also, like when I was trying to find a space, and I absolutely loved that space, like physically the space, um and I loved what the rent would have cost in comparison to what this rent costs. Way more affordable, way easier to swallow, way less risky. This is a huge risk. I didn't mention that in the last one, but this is me like throwing my life out on the line kind of. And so, but it was tucked away and hidden and it didn't face the street and it was not a good location. So anyway, we are not here to talk about that, but I can't wait to see you in like 10 days.
I can't believe it, but
I cannot either. It's our second annual confidence conference, and I just can't believe it either. And that hotel is like literally a kitty corner block away from the studio. So we're right there in the market. You probably tromped all around in that area when you were here a year ago. So, anywho, we are here to actually talk about GLP1s. And for those of you who don't know, Nicole is a functional nutrition specialist. I'm sure I said that wrong, but is that good enough?
fantastic.
Okay. She's actually the go-to, the person in my life that I respect the very most on nutrition advice and counsel. So, by the way,
Thank you. That's huge. Thank
I
you.
have people that would like to get like creatine and stuff through your shop. Can I give them your
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. That actually just came up last week. Some people were
yeah,
like,
that
"Can
should
I
be
get
great.
some
Thank you.
creatine through Nicole's store?" I'm like, "Yes." So do I? Well, they wanted me to order it for them. I'm like, "No, they probably need to set up an account with you, right?"
Yeah, how about this? I will, or you can like post the link in the show notes,
Yes.
right? And then
Great.
you'll have the link so that you
Great.
can, if they're not podcast listeners, which they should be, but if they're not, then you say, why aren't you? But I'll go ahead and send, this way it's a conversation
Dude,
starter.
Nicole is so opinionated and I love it. Like, I just love a woman with a big mouth and a big opinion.
That's why we get along so well. We don't agree on everything, I'm sure, but we get
No,
along well.
no. And even on this topic, I was like, let's talk about GLP-1s. And I'm like, I wonder, and I voice messaged her over the iPhone. I was like, over the iPhone. I voice messaged her and I said, like, what do you actually think about them? And I said, but we don't have to agree. So we'll get into that. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we do, Nicole and I realized that we effed up.
We did.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we talked about perimenopause and menopause. You named it, aptly named it like hot girl summer or
Oh,
something.
I was oh, that was so smart because
Yeah,
you people are fickle, you are fickle, and you pick the podcast with the best titles to listen to. But
that's so funny.
they don't, it's like judging a wine bottle by the label, which I do, and judging a
Mhm,
book by its cover, which I also do. And I also pick podcasts based on their titles. Okay, I'm guilty
mhm,
of it too. So we're
mhm.
all fickle. But you know what? The podcast with like the catchy, fun, like what are they talking? Those are the ones that get the more views because I know some of the episodes have been like they're not all the same. Not all of my episodes or anyone's podcast episodes are the same. Some are a slam dunk, some are they just, they vary in quality. But that does not always relate to the title of the show, people, is what I'm saying. Some of the best shows I've done might not have sexy titles, but I wanted to give that one a sexy title. So we called it Hot Girl Summer because HOT is an acronym for hormone optimization therapy. Okay, go back to how we fucked up.
Yeah, so we fucked up because we spent all that time talking about optimizing hormones and we're fitness professionals and we didn't talk about weightlifting. Hello.
We got off, we talked on the phone after, like, oh my gosh, should we
Oh my
refilm
God.
it?
Yeah, yeah. And then, that funny meme, I don't know if the listeners will be aware of it from that movie, oh my gosh, with Brandon Cooper, and it's hilarious. And there's just this little clip, and he's making a phone call in the middle of the desert, and he's like, dude, we fucked up, and I sent you
Oh,
that. I'm
wait,
sorry if I
hold
can't
on.
curse.
Isn't it Bradley Cooper?
Who did I say? Brendan Cooper?
Yeah.
Brendan, Bradley.
I
Who?
don't know anyone's name, but I know his.
Okay. I
Because
made it up. I
was
make
he the
names up.
one, was he the one in the documentary with Lady Gaga?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's not hard on the eyes.
No. No, so what difference does it make what his name is? But
Who
in order for you to know what I'm
cares?
talking about, yeah, who cares? He has a name? What? Anyway, that meme is so funny. So I sent it to you. It was like, we effed
Oh
up.
yeah, we
Talk
did. Yeah,
about
we did.
that.
So anyway, so we were gonna actually start there as like a dovetail from our past episode, which was probably months ago now. But so would you start with just talking about why putting on or maintaining muscle is so important in the menopause chapter of our lives?
Okay, so it's difficult to maintain because as we get into our 30s, everyone, whether you're a man or a woman, you start to your muscle mass naturally declines.
Mhm.
So then as you start to go in, you'll typically, chances are you're going to hit perimenopause sometime. You could be in perimenopause 10 to 15 years. So between 35 and 40, you're going to start hitting some perimenopausal symptoms. And at that point now, yes, muscle mass has already been declining, but what also happens is as your estrogen, we get these symptoms of perimenopause because our estrogen and our other reproductive hormones kind of go a little bit wonky. They're not as predictable from month to month. And when that happens as well, our metabolism changes, um, our insulin signal changes, and because estrogen is just so essential for all of a woman's bodily functions, that as that declines, again, the metabolism is different, fat storage becomes different. So you've got not just two things going on, but I'll just say two important things going on. One,
Mhm.
muscle mass has been declining, and then two, with perimenopause, menopause, estrogen declines, and those two things together kind of cause a like a track of poor metabolic health if you're not careful and very intentional.
Mm, that's what really well said.
No, thank you.
I think of our four programs, the Warrior four, like the foundational programs. I think Warrior Strength, which is the one that the most focuses on weightlifting, although weights are involved with rhythm and combat. I think it tends, it's okay, how do I say this? Because how do I say this? I think Revolution, Rhythm, and Combat, because of their music, their connection and movement with the beat of the music, and because they're fairly niche. One is boxing, one is cycling, one is yoga. Those are fairly more, they're a little bit more niche than something as general as Warrior Strength, cardio and weights.
Mhm.
So the niche ones that happen to also be super married to the music, punching and kicking on the beat, lifting, all of that, sun salutationing into a 32 count and all of that, all of it. I sometimes think those are the three of our formats that people feel the most passionate about. That being said, strength is sometimes the most popular one. It's the one that everyone knows they need. They do need it. And so anyway, that's a little bit of a tangent. I mean, that wasn't like a shameless plug for the programs. It's just something I've noticed that's interesting. And I think whether people are whether they like to lift weights or not, do you like to lift? That's your
I
jam.
do.
I
Yeah.
don't like, I've never like loved weightlifting, but thank God I've done it for decades. Like I've done it ever since I was in high school, like ever since
Hmm.
I was like technically allowed to lift and I was playing sports, they put us in the weight room. And I've never, not since high school, I've always, thank God. I
Yeah.
can't, but anyway, whether we like it, like Nicole, or it's not your favorite type of exercise like me, we all need it.
Hmm.
Like imagine that a doctor has written a prescription for you for weightlifting because if they haven't, they should have. But that's
Absolutely.
not how our doctors work in this country. But anyway,
No,
that's a
but
different episode.
and speaking of a different episode, you had spoke there was a prior episode and it was a while ago, but it was really good where you talked about moving to the music and weightlifting. So whatever that link to that episode because
Yes,
that was really spot on. We're
it
not going to move
was.
to the music, which it's fine in those other modalities because the focus in those other modalities
Isn't.
isn't building
Mm-mm.
size,
No, that's
right?
right.
And building muscle mass. It's you have other focuses in each one of those things.
I'm
But
so glad you just
yeah,
said that because there is a reason strength is off the beat of the music and it is exactly and there is an episode about why you should do your strength training off the beat of the music and it was excellent and
mhm.
thank you and that is why because of
Yeah,
exactly this topic. So
yeah. Yeah, you
okay.
can't build muscle mass, just to translate for people who maybe this isn't their forte. You can't build muscle mass and endurance at the same time. And the types of movement patterns that are going to the beat of the music, you're more or less working on muscular endurance, which is important, but it's a different conversation than building mass and strength. And that is why you don't want to move to the music when you're building strength or mass.
And endurance type of strength training, while also important to your what like you said, that is what most group fitness programs provide.
Yes.
Very rarely, if not never, do you step into a group fitness strength class where you can do 4, 5, 6 reps of as heavy as you can stand.
Mm-hmm.
And Warrior Strength does allow for that. And that's why it's off the beat. And anyway, yes, thank you for saying that. Okay, should we dive in?
Sure. Let's
Okay.
do it.
For someone who has heard of GLP1s but doesn't really understand it, what is this medication in simple terms?
Okay, so the medication is actually something that we produce on our own in our body. It's called glucagon like peptide 1.
Okay.
So it's like the glucagon peptide that we actually, glucagon is a fullness hormone. It's the opposite of insulin.
Oh,
Yeah, so actually after you've eaten, your insulin is high and your glucagon is low, and then when you get hungry, your glucagon is higher.
oh, I
And
didn't know
insulin
that.
goes low.
They
So
work like that?
yes.
Almost
Yes.
like serotonin and cortisol?
Yeah, I mean most of the and cortisol also works that way with melatonin. Is
That's
that
what I
that what
meant.
you
That's what
meant?
I meant. That's what I
Is that what
meant.
you meant?
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah,
So
thank you.
a lot of hormones
Are like
work
that?
in pairs. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
interesting.
how the signaling tends to work. So glucagon like peptide 1 is something that we have in our body. And what it does when we could, as you know, take it as a medication, which is going to help people who have a harder time with getting that. They don't know that they have a harder time with signaling, but it's for whatever reason, their bodies are not producing the optimal amount of glucagon like peptide 1 for them to feel fuller longer or slow down digestion so that you go longer between meals, you get full faster, so your blood glucose doesn't go up as high. So it works in different ways, but regardless of whether you're taking the medication or you're not and you're making your own, that's how glucagon like peptide 1 works.
Okay.
Is it keeps you full longer by slowing down digestion.
And is the insulin levels don't get as high just because they're not consuming as much food?
Two reasons. One, they're not consuming as much food because they get fuller faster.
Mhm.
And reason number two is they stay full longer.
Okay.
So your insulin drops lower
Okay.
between meals. So it works
Oh,
in those two ways to effectively
okay.
cause you to intake less calories than what you're used to taking in. No matter what, in order to lose weight, we need to have a caloric deficit. And that's where muscle mass becomes even more important because that's the first thing that's going to tank more. We already kind of set the stage for muscle mass is decreasing after age 30 for everyone, a man and a woman, just men lose it at a slower rate. But then again, we hit on perimenopause and menopause, where when estrogen declines, then our muscle mass isn't maintained as well. And then you decrease food intake and you're not eating enough to maintain your mass, which is the point of losing weight. You want to lose mass, but you don't want to lose muscle mass. You want to lose fat mass.
I have a million questions I want to ask you, but I know we had sort of talked about maybe a few specific questions, but do you care if we just go off script entirely and just
Okay, no, not at
okay,
all. We'll see what I can answer and can't answer.
questions. I just have so many questions, like all of a sudden. Okay. So, okay, here's one question for you. When I had a trouble in the darkest era of my eating disorder, it didn't matter if I was full and had the feeling of fullness, I would overeat. I would just binge. I would eat, I would like finish the pizza or the tray of brownies.
Mhm.
And I know there was some bulimia involved, but anyway, my question is if someone who's, let's say, morbidly obese, who is using a GLP-1 and it suppresses appetite or makes them feel fuller, to use the language that you used, if someone had, like, there was something wrong with me psychologically, like, there was something unwell about me that I would continue to eat past that feeling.
Mhm.
But it seems like with people that were morbidly obese that are using GLP-1s, they are stopping eating. So is it just, does it make it physically uncomfortable? Or like
Um,
why is that if they're compulsive overeaters on the regular, Why is that? Why aren't they still overeating? Because they're already, if they're compulsive overeaters, and I can relate to being one of these people, they keep eating past that signal anyway. So why is this stopping it? Does it become physically uncomfortable?
It becomes physically uncomfortable, A,
Okay.
and B, when we're struggling with something mentally,
Mm-hmm.
we're chasing some sort of a feeling. You probably, and I think you spoke to it, but you were kind of having control issues at the time. And mentally, again, I'm not a mental health professional, but if we're overeating or undereating because of a mental issue, depression or something
Right.
else, you could have been chasing dopamine. It might be a dopamine chasing kind of a thing, in
Yeah.
which case your the neurotransmitters of your brain are controlling your choices instead of a fullness signal.
No, I agree, but so why isn't that happening with people on GLP-1s?
So why isn't, well, if they might not be chasing the dopamine, they might be just getting uncomfortably full. So even though you're saying you got uncomfortably full and it didn't matter, you could think about what the food choices were. So like what you could eat, like chances are you were not going to go and eat more steak.
Right.
Chances are you were going to eat something like a simple carbohydrate. And that's going to help you pick your mood up. Dopamine would help you pick your mood up. And
Right.
the simple carbohydrates are going to do that. Whereas if you're really full and you're in a good mindset and you still want more food just because you're craving something, chances are you're not going to eat steak or broccoli.
I know, but I think you're either misunderstanding my question or we're
Yeah,
making the
probably.
same point. So what I'm saying is if someone is obese, morbidly obese, let's say, they're already eating past their fullness. So
Okay, so there's
like,
another hormone in play, two other hormones in play.
okay.
There's leptin and there's ghrelin. Okay, so leptin helps us feel full and ghrelin tells us when we're hungry.
Okay.
So I think it was the early 90s, scientists discovered leptin and thought, we discovered leptin. All we need to do is give people a leptin pill and they will be full. And what they found when they studied obese individuals, they figured obese individuals have less leptin
Okay.
because they're not getting the signal that they're full. What they found is obese individuals actually have more leptin than
Interesting.
normal weight human beings.
Whoa.
And so what that meant, this is again a theory about why they are overriding that signal, is that actually the brain becomes leptin resistant.
Oh.
The same as any other resistance that we are aware of, insulin
Oh,
resistance, antibiotic resistance. It means when the
got it.
body sees it too much, the boy has cried wolf, and now we ignore that message.
Got it. Totally. The boy
So
cried.
there's a lot going on. I mean, we hit dopamine. I didn't mention serotonin. It's another one where you want to pick up your mood. You're going to go for carbohydrate rich things, simple
Right.
carbs. But then there's leptin and there's ghrelin and that. So
So,
in people that are obese, like I say this all the time, and even just gaining weight, you don't even have to be obese. You just have to be slightly overweight. It is a symptom of something hormonally going wrong. Weight gain is a symptom of something going wrong hormonally. And we just touched on a lot of hormones. But at its very simple level, in the first layer, let's say, we have blood sugar dysregulation. And that's what's going to cause your weight gain to begin with.
okay.
As you continue to gain weight, then other things come into play, because continual weight gain, where you have increased fat storage, your fat cells start to send signals as well. So even though it'd be inaccurate to say your fat becomes a gland is something that releases hormonal messages. So your fat does, in a sense, behaves like a gland because it does send hormonal signals. So you've got fat gain working against you in addition to leptin resistance, insulin resistance.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It's just like compounding all the, odds against one. It's like it's just a spiral, a downward spiral, easily a downward spiral. So, but you were saying a few minutes ago, so women that are perimenopausal and menopausal need with all their might to keep muscle on and to even gain muscle. And so when you are on a GLP-1, you are also losing, potentially more likely to lose muscle too, right? So
you are, but what I want, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, no, don't forget what you're going to say. But so if you are perimenopausal and on a GLP-1, this is the episode for you because it's a double whammy. It's a double, you gotta, like, your mission in life every morning needs to be put muscle on your body. Okay, go.
Yeah. Okay. So what I was going to say is what I want people to understand and not get the wrong idea is what is not going on is GLP-1s are not eating away your muscle. What is happening is that you are too full to consume enough food that your muscle needs. So prioritize protein first. So how much protein do you need? I would recommend 1 gram of protein per desired
body
weight. Correct.
Desired.
Whatever your goal is. So don't eat the amount of protein of what you are. If you're on a GLP-1, you want to lose weight.
That's a great distinction, by the way. That's a great distinction because what people usually say is 1 gram of protein per body weight, not desired body weight. That was an interesting distinction. I think you've taught us that in the past, but I needed that reminder. Well, just for reference sake, it is so hard for me to get my that many grams of protein. It is so hard for me, and I do prioritize protein. So if it's so hard for me and I can eat big meals, or at least 1 big meal a day. I start with my protein shake. I add collagen peptides to it for a little more protein. I do hard-boiled eggs. I do a massive bowl of Greek yogurt. This is like daily. And then with dinner, I try to have a meat. And even still, it's so hard. And so I can't even imagine how hard it would be for someone whose hormones are signaling them that they're full and they want to stop eating.
Right. And the other thing that happens as we get older is that we naturally produce less stomach acid and we produce less digestive enzymes. So in just this is a natural course of events.
Of course, because everything just goes downhill.
Everything slows down.
I didn't know about, okay. That's another thing that goes downhill.
That's what aging is.
Yeah.
It's cellular senescence. It's the slowing down of all cellular processes. That's what aging is. So to help you, again. What's that?
Just say that again.
Aging is the slowing down of cellular processes. That's what aging is. Yeah. And so we'll just talk for 2 seconds on fasting. But what fasting is shown to do is that it increases, you could say it 1 or 2 ways, autophagy, autophagy. It helps kill off those dead cells. And so that you're not aging as significantly, if you know what I mean. Like the dead cells are going to happen, but we don't want them to accumulate, or that slows everything down. It's like taking out the trash.
It's like getting a facial, getting the dead skin cells off your face.
Exactly. It's like getting all that dead. So the faster we can get rid of those things, then the faster our cells can renew and slow down the effects of aging.
I was going to say something about, oh, this is a total aside, and then we'll get right back on the track. I think, speaking of me starting to lift weights decades ago, and that just becoming a habit in my life, whether I liked it or not. And now, as a 51-year-old, I am so happy that was a habit that was established. But I think, and like, I mean, this our audience has heard probably at nauseum about my struggles with eating and stuff, but there was like a time many years ago, geez, 3 decades ago, where I stopped eating fast food and stopped drinking soda. And then like later, I wish it was back then, but eventually I really stopped having the hyper processed foods, and buying anything in packages or boxes or anything like that. And just my whole little tiny segue, and then we'll back to GLP-1s, is I think people think like, what's one day? What's one day? One day doesn't matter. So one day doesn't matter if I eat bread instead of a steak. What's one day if I don't work out today? It's like, but the only way to really ever have health and muscle mass or whatever, bone density, whatever, you name it, brain health is the each day, that is to realize that every single day does matter. And that doesn't mean you have to be perfect and can't go on vacation or, have a celebratory birthday cake or whatever. Like, I don't mean you have to like be militant and that you can't take a day off or any, I'm not saying that, but I just think human beings think, what does it matter if I eat
that's
right
what it
today and work out
is
today?
that we don't see, and the book is called The Compound Effect by
Yes.
Darren
Darren
Hardy.
Hardy. You got his
Darren
name
Hardy.
right, just not
Yeah,
Bradley Cooper's.
I almost said Daryl. I slowed myself down. So I almost did it again. Darren Hardy's Compound Effect. So we don't see the little things. So we could talk about consistency in a positive way, but there's
Yeah.
also consistency in the negative way. You skip one workout, it doesn't matter. But then you skip another workout. You opt for bread over broccoli one day. That doesn't matter. Going on vacation for a week and going off the rails, that doesn't matter. It's what you do the
Yeah.
other 80% of the time that
Dude,
matters.
do you know that that is the book that had the greatest effect on my entire life? That book is
No, I had no idea.
that book actually just changed the way I saw everything, from marriage to nutrition to business to fitness. Like I know it's just it's a simple concept, but somehow at that season of my life reading that book, just dramatically changed I was going to say the trajectory of my life, which is funny. It's funny that I would want to use that word, because one of the things that sticks out to me is the cross-country flight that he mentions as a metaphor. If the compass or whatever, if the flight is off one
Right.
degree, they end up in a different, like,
Yeah, exactly.
different.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So anyway, back to, can I just ask you, like, would you say you're generally for them or against them? Or how do you personally, as a fitness and nutrition professional, feel about this new development?
All right, here's what I hope. I hope it gets us out of this chronic disease disaster that we're headed for. Oh, we're in it,
Yeah.
but we're headed for it in a worse way with our younger generation. So, not that I think a young child should take a medication. I think they need to learn how to make the lifestyle changes if you're a young child, for
Yeah.
sure. But that's my hope, is that it is as promising as it seems.
Mhm.
But I think that would probably be a little naive of me to hold on to that. So I also hope that here's what I'm seeing, that the GLP-1s can help people for sure lose weight, and perhaps make the lifestyle changes that are necessary. For instance, if people are obese and they hurt and their joints hurt and they don't have energy, the thought of going for a walk or getting to the gym is more challenging for them, presumably, than for people who have never been overweight. So you have so many people probably that aren't able to put that first foot forward.
Mhm.
And so if a GLP-1 can help them lose 20 pounds, and I don't mean quickly, whatever it is, quickly, slowly, whatever it takes, and their joints start to feel better, and then you are confident enough to get yourself in a gym. Like these are things that I think we probably can see. What I think I for sure don't want to see is like, I'm on a GLP-1, so I get a pizza tonight. I would hope that the GLP-1 is going to make you very uncomfortable eating pizza, literally, because it probably will make you, versus you could have 3 pieces versus 1 piece, right?
Mhm.
1 piece, maybe it doesn't make you uncomfortable. Well, there you are. You're making the change that the GLP-1 is helping you to make. However, you'll be feeling better, more energetic, less joint pain, all the things if you opt not to have the pizza, or maybe only once in a while, and make the better choice. So I'm I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic to say that maybe it can teach people to make the better decisions. And I hope that it doesn't teach people to, I can do the wrong thing because I'm on a medication that's helping me.
Right. I My opinion is probably very similar, which we didn't know when we were going to podcast what the other thought. I I think sometimes, I mean, I have misgivings about them, and want to learn more. And I don't think it's a medication that someone should nonchalantly decide to do. Like, and I think if there's any way to make the lifestyle changes and the better choices without the use of this drug, that is ideal. But I'm also, being in the industry, not naive. And I know that sometimes the struggle, and I'm kind of going to say something you just said, just differently. The struggle is so overwhelming when you're overweight. And I remember being overweight. When you're overweight, you just, maybe I should just speak for myself, because I don't know what it's like to be someone else besides me. When I was overweight, I had no motivation. I wasn't proud of the way I looked. My body didn't feel good. It wasn't, and I didn't, you don't feel good. You just don't feel good. You don't feel good physically, and you don't feel good mentally, and you don't feel good emotionally. You don't feel good spiritually, and you don't feel good psychologically. You're down. You're depressed. I was depressed. And it's really hard to be motivated, which is like the exact opposite of being depressed, when you don't like what you see. And all I wanted to do, which is crazy if you know me now, all I wanted to do is sleep, and not even ever wake up. It was just like I just wanted to sleep and not wake up, because I didn't even really want to live. It just, but anyway, my point is I have a profound sensitivity because of experiencing what that feels like, to people. They are stuck. They're stuck. And it's easy for someone who's fit and motivated and getting a lot of rest and eating their veggies and feels great and has all this motivation like we do today. It's easy for us to be like, well, just go move, just go on a walk, just go pick up those dumbbells, just go to a gym, just go to a class. It's easiest for us, but it's like impossible for them. They're literally like stuck. And so I think if this can get some people unstuck, and I know that's kind of what you just said, but if it can get the spiral going in the other direction, and then that leads me to a question I have. Are they supposed to be on GLP-1s forever? Or do they wean off? Or I've heard these terms microdosing. Like, do they, once, hopefully once they establish some healthier habits, if they go off, do they just like gain all the weight back? Or what do you think about that?
So those couple questions bring up probably 10 different points, but
Okay.
we'll start with what I understand, some people is that they want to go off them. They don't want to stay on them and forever. And I believe, I'm pretty sure about this. You do start with a lower dose. So whether you, depending on what size you are, like there's this, you got to start small and work your way up to an increased dosage for your own body weight and tolerance. Because if you start at a very high dose, your side effects are going to be more pronounced because your body hasn't adjusted to the increased amount of GLP-1. So they start you lower. They start each individual at a lower dose, from what I understand. And what that number is could vary by individual.
Okay.
I don't exactly know. And so my thought is, when you would come off of them, you don't just come off of them, you would go down slowly as well. People do this with steroids isn't quite the same, but steroids, you start with like a full
Right,
thing.
like prednisone or something.
Yeah. So I would think that if people want to go off, and I'm no doctor, that people would slowly dose it down, and hopefully they've made the changes that they need to make, which brings up muscle mass yet again, because you're more likely to put on fat mass if what you've lost was muscle. That's another reason that we want to keep up the muscle mass, because if we lose weight and a lot of what we lose is muscle, then that's just going to promote more fat gain when we don't have the medication. You also mentioned microdosing, which could be where, if somebody doesn't have a lot of weight to lose, they may, and let's just say they have this vanity weight, which I don't think I really agree with going on medication for vanity weight, but let's just say.
You mean like they want to lose 10 pounds?
Right. They have a wedding, they went, whatever, or they have like a nagging 10 pounds and whatever it is. Okay. Leaving all judgment of that aside, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You do you. So that being said, there's research that shows that microdosing, independent of weight loss, has an anti-inflammatory effect on various parts of the body, from your immune system to your brain for Alzheimer's, and even there's potential for migraines. Osteoarthritis, it also seems to help, because we have, once we're in our 20s, 30s, we start to get arthritis in actually all of our joints, all of them.
Really?
But we have pain. Let's just say you had an injury.
Yeah.
You have pain in that joint in particular. So you're like, oh, your doctor tells you, it's arthritis, whatever. We actually have arthritis almost everywhere.
Because is it because it's the cellular degradation?
Yes, but we don't have pain everywhere. And why is that? That's what scientists are really investigating about arthritis. Why don't we have pain everywhere? Where we have pain is where the inflammation is. The inflammation is causing the pain. So there's some promising studies about GLP-1 in the microdosing level, that it decreases neuroinflammation, immune system inflammation, joint inflammation.
You're kidding me.
No, I was doing research on it right before we talked.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a lot of clients that are on GLP-1s? I definitely have students.
Yeah, I have students and clients. So a couple of people that take my classes are on GLP-1s, and then I have a couple of clients who are on GLP-1s. For one client in particular, and she's been seeing me for a very long time, working out, personal training one-on-one. She's getting very discouraged, and she's been on GLP-1 since August. And I would say the weight loss is slow. It hasn't been quick. It's happening, but it hasn't been, there's other things at play. I mean, I try to, talk to her about having a better sleep regimen. Like, sleep is so important, especially when it comes to weight loss, muscle mass, all those things. Sleep is so important. So that's going on too. And I don't know, I don't think she's prioritizing sleep the way she should. Not to blame her. People have different lifestyles and different, she's got a 6-year-old kid, and, not blaming her. I'm just saying that that's something that will it's not as easy as, oh, you're taking this GLP-1, you're eating less, and why aren't you losing
It's
weight?
more complex. Yeah.
It's a little more complicated than that.
Well, I mean, I don't know everyone. Like, it's possible that people are on GLP-1s and I don't even know, but a couple of them have shared it with me and have had profound weight. Like, they're very, very happy with how it's affected and they're so motivated now. Like, they're so motivated to show up. But are there any downsides? Like, what is this we hear about the side effects and the abdominal cramping and stomach pain? Like, what's happening there? What's causing that? Is that just a small percentage of people? And this is, sorry, two-pronged, so let's not forget the other prong. She's good. She got her pen out.
Yeah.
That's funny. I podcast with a pen too.
Yeah. I have a pen and the notebook right near me.
So one question is, talk to me about the potential downsides, the potential side effects. The other prong of this question is, I guess I'm going to make a statement, but I'll reframe it as a question. Initially, when I started hearing about this, my knee-jerk thought was, this is just big pharma making more billions of dollars. And I hate big pharma. I hate like our country being like medication shoved down their throats all the time. And I was getting my nails done. Look, aren't they pretty? This is for the
They're great.
It's for the con. I decided to be like classy with white.
Con nails. Nice.
Con nails. And I was getting my nails done, and his name is Nail Daddy. He's the cutest thing in the world. Nail Daddy, that he does my nails.
That's so cute.
Shout out to Brennan. His name actually is Brennan, not Bradley Cooper. Brennan.
We with
watched
two N's. Brennan with two N's.
Brennan, yeah, Nail Daddy. On Instagram, it's at Nail Daddy, DADDI. Anyway, so I don't watch TV. I don't have a TV, but he has an iPad. So and my nails take like an hour and a half because they're so long. So we watch like smut TV. I mean, he does, but I love it because I never watch smut. So like one week we watched this show. Sorry, the other prong is coming. Just let me cul-de-sac for a second. One week we watched this show where, oh my gosh, Nicole, a guy and a girl show up who have never met before to get married. They show up like the show has chosen them for each other. They don't even know if they're physically attracted to each other. They've never talked. It's not like a prearranged marriage. Well, I guess it kind of is, but it's not like they were talking on the phone and they were already in love. They just hadn't seen each other. They never talked. They show up to get married. It's the weirdest thing, but it was delicious. Like, it was so, because my brain is always like thinking on all these high level things all the time, making all these major decisions. And it was just so, so smutty. And then this time we watched a show. Why am I telling you this? Oh, we watched this other smutty show.
Cul-de-sac.
Yeah, I'm coming back around. Cul-de-sacs come back to the main road.
Okay.
This week it was the like I forgot what it was called, but like the weak link of the family gets sent out into the Everglades to like live in the wild for as long as they can. And the families are at this like base. I don't know what it's called. But the families are at the base, and the families compete against the other families, and they're like kids out there in the wilderness, like freezing to death and dying and starving and dying of thirst. And the families compete to send them like fire starter or a blanket and it's just delicious smut. So anyway, I get my nails done, I watch smut, but what I've realized is every single commercial, here comes the main road. You just watch my brain because I'm on cruise. Go right back to the main road.
Here it comes.
Here it comes, baby. I'm bringing it
in. Pharmaceutical ads.
There was a GLP-1 ad every single commercial break, which was like every 2 minutes. We were like, we should be counting. This should be a drinking game. We should be counting all these commercials. It was wild. But anyway, so my fear, back to the main road, is that what is Big Pharma's role in this? And should we be alarmed? And are there downsides? Because I think there's a lot of naysayers in our space that are less gracious than you and I with being hopeful about this, that are just like, super down on them. And so anyway, just talk to me about those things.
Okay, so I'll talk about a couple of cons that I see. So The GLP-1 is slowing down digestion, which keeps you full longer. What is digestion? Digestion is the absorption of nutrients from your food. So if you are not digesting your food, you are not absorbing nutrients. So that's one of the reasons. Now, it doesn't mean you're not absorbing food at all. You are absorbing something because you're still digesting, but that's one of the reasons that the side effects could be nausea because your food's sitting in your stomach too long. Could be heartburn because once your food is sitting in your stomach too long, that's the fermentation inside your stomach of the food. So we think of heartburn as like too much acid, and that's not it. Heartburn is not too much acid. Heartburn is actually not enough acid digesting your food.
What?
So yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so
I thought it was too much acid. That's why like tomatoes are acidic and they make it worse. And
yeah, so what is actually happening, the reason we think it's too much acid and the reason it's burning is because what it's burning is your esophagus. The fermentation of your food is causing a burning feeling on your esophagus. Now, why is that? Because the cells of your esophagus are not the same of the cell as the cells of your stomach. Your stomach can tolerate very high acid amounts, which means a very low pH. Your esophagus is not supposed to be feeling gas coming back up against your esophagus. So what Tums or something like that does is it does take care of the symptoms, but it makes the problem worse because it slows down further the digestion because it's an antacid, and what we need to digest our food.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Sorry, this cul-de-sac really took us around.
That was good.
Yeah, I tell people, and they can't believe it, but I tell people besides smoking and not exercising, the worst thing you can do for yourself is take Tums or Pepcid AC or any of that stuff. Those three things. Smoking is first, and with close second is not exercising, which could be argued that maybe not exercising is worse. And then the third worst thing you could do for your health is take Tums or Pepcid AC or whatever. And if you need help with that, I'm your girl. I can help you get off of it no matter how long you've been on it. I can help you.
Amazing.
And you can work with your doctor. I'm not saying I get you off of a medication. You work with your doctor and me in partnership, and I've helped many, many people get off of those things are very damaging. So not the GLP-1, I'm just saying the people that suffer from side effects, the higher the dose, the more likely you're going to have side effects. Okay. So that's why we're kind of studying the microdosing for anti-inflammatory effects, but the higher your dose, the higher your side effects.
This is maybe a stupid question, but if they were to take longer to chew their food, would it digest better?
Yes.
And if they were to do that, like you've talked to us in the past, like stop, breathe.
Yes.
Take a small
that would be a good way to
time.
mitigate. That would be a great way to mitigate those symptoms that you're going to suffer from those symptoms anyway, because you're taking a GLP-1. So it is a slowing down of the gastric emptying. That's what it does. So if you slow down, if you, breathe, if you chew more, if you drink some lemon in your water or drink a little bit of apple cider vinegar in your water.
Well, yeah. And also just drink water, like make sure you're drinking water with your,
Yeah. Again, easy lifestyle hacks that anyone can do, whether you're on a GLP-1 or not, is going to help your digestion.
I have 2 more questions for you today, unless you have more to say. Are you ready?
I think we're good.
Okay. My next question is, maybe we already covered it, but we did. We talked about protein, but we talked about protein and the grams being 1 gram per your ideal body weight pound.
Right.
But so maybe we've answered this already, but what should people be prioritizing on their plate?
Definitely prioritize protein, like we said, and vegetables, green leafy vegetables, fiber. Fiber is going to help it feeds your gut microbiome, and then your short chain fatty acids will help you further. That helps you digest your food. and get into the small intestine and have like regular bowel movements. By the way, that's another side effect I didn't mention.
I was
Of course,
wondering,
if our food is sitting in our
Yeah.
stomach, we're not getting rid of the waste,
Yeah, I
right?
was wondering
So
if
constipation is another
I
very
was
common
about to
side
ask.
effect.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that means that's very, being constipated, just because something's common doesn't mean it's normal. It's common in menopause, perimenopause, and for people who are on a GLP-1. And it is a way for us to eliminate waste. It is very important that we have regular bowel movements.
Okay.
So more fiber is going to take care of, there's no magic fix, but you'll find what works for you. For one of my clients, blueberries work. For another of my clients,
Yes.
MCT oil works. Like there's, it runs the gamut, but try something.
For me, the probiotic that you gave me, that I get from you, it works. And I do
Good.
have a insane amount of blueberries every day.
Good.
Yeah, because
Good.
I think that they're good for my brain and I want the fiber and the antioxidants and all that stuff. But I do
Nice. With this
that goes on
discussion,
my yogurt. That's part of my lunch every day.
I think I determined like what my dinner is going to be because my husband's away. I'm not cooking tonight, so that's
Oh.
exciting. So I have cottage cheese, I have blueberries. I'll probably have some eggs or something like that. Yeah, it's like just something simple, but I do have blueberries and some cottage cheese. So,
okay, my final question is, since our primary audience here is group fitness professionals, I mean, not totally. I have people that take my class that like to listen to, and I think anyway. But what should the fitness professional know? How does all of this impact us?
well, I think you should, obviously in your classes, we don't have judgment about how people move. Right. Everybody's coming from a different space with how they move, injury, arthritis, weight, or just not even feeling like being there. Some people have to really drag themselves in there and we don't judge them for that. So, I mean, we shouldn't judge them for, size, medications, if they want to share it with you.
Yeah.
I would just say, be sure that you're staying within your scope of practice. Just like I said, like taking Tums is the worst thing you could do, but I can't say to someone, oh, stop taking that prescription medication. So you want to be careful that that's not in your scope of practice anyway, as a fitness professional. But you also want people to just feel like your room is a safe space, which I'm sure if you are a follower of Ellen, you already got that message. So, but that's really important.
That's what I would have said too. Scope of practice and have compassion and no judgment. Yeah. So is there anything else that with this topic of GLP-1s that you wanted to add or mention that maybe I forgot to ask you about? If not, then you can think about that for a second. And if not, then definitely reshare how we can get a hold of you if we do want your services and all that stuff.
Okay, great. That's a great question for me to see if there's anything that I wanted to talk about. And I would say, like, if people are, maybe thinking about it, or maybe you're like, I don't have a lot of weight to lose, so I really don't want to either go, take a medication, or whatever the reasons may be, there are ways to increase your GLP-1 naturally. Like, again, we started talking about the fact that we produce our own GLP-1. So I talked about increasing fiber that will help you increase your own GLP-1. And there's some supplements that show some promise. And you've probably heard of them. Before you take anything, here we go again, make sure you talk to your doctor, because certain supplements can interact with prescription medications. So make sure you talk to your doctor. But berberine definitely lowers blood glucose, and it has similar actions and does it to the similar degree as metformin, which is a prescription medication for diabetes. So berberine.
Say it again.
Berberine.
Sorry, Tootie Booty was shouting.
Oh, berberine. B-E-R-B-E-R-B-E-R-I-N-E. It
That's
does,
similar to metformin.
yeah, it works. It's the mechanism is similar and
Okay.
it does it to a similar degree as metformin.
Okay.
And metformin is a prescription medication. Whereas berberine is a supplement. Chromium helps the body listen for insulin. So it helps with the body's like signal, to use insulin for energy purposes. This way you're not storing sugar in your fat cells.
Wait, before you go on, in talking about insulin, will you explain that lock and the key thing that you
Oh
found in
yeah,
the past? I love
sure. So insulin is all hormones are chemical messengers in the body. Insulin is, if you imagine that glucose is trying to get into your cell. Again, we have the bloodstream and then we have cells, right? If it's in the bloodstream, we can't be using it. It's just floating around there where it shouldn't be. It should be in your cells. And there's receptors on the cells that the glucose are supposed to enter through this door. Insulin is the key to let glucose in. And so when we become insulin resistant, we kind of have, it's like the boy who cried wolf. We have too much insulin that it's not going to let all that glucose in there because the glucose is just floating around all the time. It's like, we don't need any more energy in here. We're not using it. We're not using it. Like, think of that as like the sugar is there for your body to use the energy. And so if you're not using it, it needs to get stored. So the insulin unlocks the key to the cell and the glucose gets in there.
Get in.
And bringing it back around to muscle mass real quickly, the muscle is like a glucose sponge. If you have more muscle, you will store glucose in your muscle cells. It's stored as glycogen. And so that's part of what training is, that when you're ready for your workout the next day, the muscles know. They pretty much know like what you're going to do, when you're going to need the amount of, so you're storing it from the day before. It's all, if you have that muscle mass, it's getting ready to get used for the next day. If you don't use it that day, then it gets used for the next day. But then, again, we get into that consistency where make sure you use it because it's priming for you. It's expecting to be used. So it's a great question. Always does come back to
don't waste those glycogen stores.
No. In fact, that's my theory on why people who exercise are actually thinner than people who don't. I don't think it's about calorie expenditure that these little gadgets tell us about. I think it's about muscles, the muscles, whatever it is. If you might not have a lot of muscle mass, but you may use your muscles to run. So if your body knows that you're going to be running tomorrow, then your legs are going to get all kinds of glycogen in there, and your lungs are going to have, your lungs are built up to be able to do that. So that's what I think, that actually why people who exercise are thinner. I don't think it's about burning calories. I think it's about using energy, which is kind of the same thing, but it's where you're using your energy from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Didn't get to L-carnitine. L-carnitine.
Wait, just also just the body, the more fit the body is, the easier it is to stay fit and to be more fit. Even from a cardiovascular standpoint, capillaries and the blood vessels and the arteries and all of it.
Everything. That's why when people come to your classes, group fitness instructors, when it's a new person, they are struggling compared to the person next to them. It's like they're thinking, oh my God, I'm so out of shape. Oh, I'm so out of shape. And they're not wrong. It's just that there are physiological reasons.
Yeah.
And I do like try to tell people, it's like, here's a way to think of it. There's a couple ways, but it's like, if all of our time, if all of that we've done years and years and years of exercising, if somebody could just come in and be like, woo, woo, no problem. We're just wasted our time for the last 40 years. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, it makes sense that there should be a struggle, and it's just, helping them feel successful no matter where they're at. And then the other way that we could look at it with, it's like cyclical. It's so much easier to stay fit once you are fit, it's pushing a boulder up the side of a mountain. And once you get to the top of the boulder, the mountain,
Yeah.
the difficulty's over. So it doesn't mean we don't need to work out anymore. We do, but it is not hard to work out anymore. It's just part of your day. So that's anyone in your classes would, would understand that. So whether it be
great reminder for the fitness pro, just such a great reminder. It's like I can hop on a bike and I could go all day, but someone who's never cycled, who's out of shape, is gonna in 20 seconds out of the saddle just feel like gassed out,
And like when we go to Con, right? The people that are doing the hike, like,
yes,
there's not somebody on that hike that is not a fit individual, right? There's no one on the hike that's not
right,
fit.
but we're all dying because we don't.
We're all dying.
Right.
Because
it's so funny. Did you hear on our Con prep call how Diva's like, it's a hike? Oh, I didn't know we were gonna hike. She said, I didn't know we were gonna hike.
No, it is no joke. It is no joke. But here we are. I live in New Jersey. It's like we don't have a mountain like that. I'm a fit individual, and that is a serious hike. So it's your body adapts to whatever it is that you constantly ask it to do. And if you constantly ask it to sit on the couch on your phone, you're going to be the form of like this, right? So.
Okay, back to the back to the natural things that help elevate our own GLP-1 naturally. Sorry.
So after the berberine, the chromium,
we cul-de-sac hard.
We cul-de-sac big time. L-carnitine helps convert fat to ATP, which is what we use for energy. So L-carnitine is another supplement. And yerba mate, which I haven't even heard of this. It's yerba mate tea, and it is proven to increase GLP-1 naturally. It does contain caffeine. It is especially helpful to increase fat oxidation during exercise when taken before exercise. And it also then anything that has caffeine in it gives you a little performance boost when exercising as well. Increase fat burning prior to any kind of exercise. So yerba mate tea, that is, if I'm spelling it right, I did look it up. It's YERBA, one word. Then mate is a second word, MATE, tea. Yerba mate tea. Okay. And fenugreek, finally fenugreek, lowers blood sugar levels and increases GLP-1 activity.
Gosh, you know what? Will you send me that list? Because that way, if you're listening right now and you're like, oh shit, I need to pull over the car and write that down. Like sometimes I'll like screenshot a podcast, like at the timestamp I want to.
Yes, I do the same thing.
You do? That's so
funny.
Or I'll like want to share it with someone, but I want them to listen at a certain point. Okay. Yep. So actually, if just we'll do you a favor, keep driving, keep your hands on the steering wheel, people. You don't need to pull over. Nicole will give me that list and we'll put them in the show notes.
Absolutely. Okay. And with my full script link.
Yes, please. Okay. So that's a perfect segue to how can they reach you if they want to work with you? Because you do all kinds of stuff. You do blood glucose monitoring. We did an episode about that once.
Yeah. So NicolePrinton.com. You could schedule a call with me. You could find me on Facebook or Instagram. You can message me there as well.
You cannot find me on Facebook still.
I know. I'm sorry. I even felt bad saying it. Nicole Printon, by the way. So Nicole Printon, Facebook, Instagram, NicolePrinton.com.
We say, well, Diva she just swallows the T. Printon.
Yeah, there's a Philly accent there. I think does she swallow the N? Oh no, she swallows the T. Printon.
No, there's no N or T.
Yeah, Printon.
It's like PRINTON.
Right. Printon. Yeah. So anyway, it's not that. It's NicolePrinton.
Yeah. And her little on Instagram, there's a little broccoli emoji in her name.
Yes, there's a broccoli emoji.
I like that.
Yep. Mm-hmm. You know you found me when you find the broccoli.
Yep. Okay, so
thanks again for having me.
Wait, did you remember? I know it's been like years since we podcasted, but did you remember that you have to do a confession?
As we were talking, I'm like, oh shit, I don't know what my confession's going to be.
Let me see if I can think of one.
Yeah, I hate to have like silence on a podcast.
I know it's fine. They can wait. I'll have a little confession that they won't care about, but you will. My effing kitchen is still not remodeled.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Mine is my kitchen is done, but the whole thing isn't done.
The whole thing is not done.
What's the deal with yours?
Well, anyway, if you live in Eugene, reach out to me before you hire a general contractor, because the commercial general contractor that did the studio, he's also commercial and what do you call it? Residential.
Mhm.
Amazing. So big mistake in not hiring him to do both my home and the studio. But the one I hired for my house just as a bad work ethic and probably lacks some integrity. And anyway, we just didn't, I didn't vet the, anyway, bum deal. So if you live in Eugene and happen to be listening and you need to remodel your house, please reach out to me so I can tell you not to hire somebody. But just like the under cabinet lighting in the kitchen still isn't done. And my kitchen remodel started like 4 or 5 months before yours. It's been
Oh,
like
yeah.
a year.
Yeah.
And just there's some things that were done poorly that need to be redone. We had like a stairway banister. We got rid of all the carpet in the house. Anyway, there's actually quite a few things that are still not done. And I got so frustrated that I just asked my husband to take point and to actually leave me out of the whole thing. So I am out of the battle, but I'm more of the battler. And so I don't know, like now, like just nothing's happening. So
Yeah. Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah, that's so frustrating.
I wanted to get out of that because I need to focus my energy elsewhere. But I also think like, anyway, go ahead. You too.
Yeah, I was gonna say like so my confession,
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if you know this about me, but it's not quite a confession, but I've struggled with hip pain forever.
No.
Um, for a long time. I had an injury and then just stuff and I'm pretty so anyway, I was diagnosed in the fall with osteoarthritis
Oh.
in the hip. Um, but I'm not sure that I believe I know there's arthritis there. It's there. But
Mhm.
sometimes you could have arthritis and like we kind of talked about this, and that's not what's causing my
It's the
pain
inflammation.
because right. So whenever I go for PT, whenever I do PT sessions, it helps me for sure.
Okay.
And so I guess I don't know if you want to call this a confession, but I just found a very simple device
Huh.
that maybe your group fitness instructor family. So I feel stupid. I just put it on my stories, how stupid I feel
Why?
that this very simple contraption, it's called a Psorite, Psorite. And
Is
it's
that
really for
like
your,
the root of psoas?
yes, it's for your psoas, but I can't even tell you, like,
Wait, how do you get it? Hold on. So if you're listening and not watching, it looks like a black letter U.
yeah, like a mount, like two
No, it
little
looks like a
mountainous peaks.
skateboard ramp, like a
Yeah, it's
skateboard
like
ramp.
two mountainous peaks that are
Yeah.
made to, I know that I'll
Yeah.
just stand and it's supposed to
Oh,
go like on
right.
your psoas.
Oh my gosh.
But it also works for different parts of the body. Like you could sit like your hip in it and get your TFL, and they have all kinds of videos on their YouTube and their Instagram.
Oh,
And so now maybe the Warriors, maybe they'll give the Warriors a deal. Remember
yeah,
we
maybe
got
we
a
can get those for
lot of
ConCon 2027.
yeah. I mean on but now the last 2 days I'm walking around without pain. I opened this thing yesterday.
You need to tell Diva.
I know that.
She has some weird letter S looking thing, and she's always trying to get into her psoas. And
Diva will die for this. Like it's unbelievable. And I'm
oh,
shocked she doesn't have it because I thought of her. I didn't know exactly what her hip issue is,
it's a
but I know
psoas, I think. She
it's
thinks.
this thing's magical. And it's magical for things beyond the psoas.
I
Like
love that this is your confession. I
I
feel like it
know.
loosely
I'm
qualifies,
such
maybe.
yeah, I'm such a geek. Well, my confession, I guess, is that I feel like an idiot. Like
Oh, okay.
it's just
No,
it's magical.
I've never seen that before. But guess what? I have heard of that yerba mate tea.
Oh, you have?
Yeah,
Okay.
it must have been talked about or on one of the
Maybe on like Drew Pruitt or something like
something.
that.
Yeah, I must have because I have heard of that. I wouldn't have known that it helps increase our GLP1s. Um, okay, that's fantastic. So everybody follow Nicole and maybe you could rate the show, give us a few more 5-star reviews. And what else? Let us know what you want to hear from Nicole next time. I was thinking maybe you could do fasting since you brought that up. We haven't
Sure.
talked about that specifically, have we?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we talked about it specifically, but we'll see what the community wants. We can ask also when at ConCon what they want to hear, right? That's not the whole community, but it's a
It's
big
a sliver. It's a big sliver.
It's a big sliver. Yep.
Okay, well, I love talking with you all the time. Thank you for
Thank you.
episode 99. That's so
Yeah.
I feel like
So
much
fun.
importance. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thanks for having me again.
Thank you for joining in on the Confessions of a Group X Instructor podcast. If you're interested in becoming a warrior instructor, go to warriorinstructors.com. But if you want more and found this episode amazing, please give us a rating. And with a simple click to subscribe, we'll invite you back to our next episode. So remember, be brave, be bold, be blessed. And above all, listen, learn, love.